The meeting will please come to order. I would ask everyone to stand for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Tonight's invocation is being offered by Councilman Garrett.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Bow your heads, please. Most gracious Heavenly Father, thank you for the opportunity to gather here this evening. Be with us now as we make those decisions that will affect the lives of the folks of our county. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Without objection, we'll suspend the calling of the roll and ask the clerk to record the names of the members present throughout the meeting. Is there a motion for the adoption of our minutes, February 15th? Second, if there's no objection, the minutes will stand approved as written. Madam Clerk, are there any messages from the mayor?
No, ma'am, there are not.
Thank you. Councilman Mitchell?
Yes, we're honored to have in our presence tonight Troop 226 of the Boy Scouts. And with us tonight we have B.J. Bishop, Josh Russell, Joy Skibby, and the Scoutmaster tonight with us is Brad Bishop. And I'm just honored to have them with us, future leaders and future councilmen here tonight. Thank y'all.
I just want to call your attention. On your desk, there is a letter from me about an upcoming event. Just wanted to call your attention to that. And you can see me or Roseanne if you have any questions. Next on our agenda is a proposed amendment to Rule Number 12 to the Rules of Procedure of the Metropolitan Council. Council member... He's not here. Oh, Councilman Foster? The sponsor's not here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought this was the one that had been mine. I'm sorry, but is this not that one, John?
No, sir.
I'm sorry. Excuse me.
Councilman Garrett?
Madam Vice Mayor, I haven't talked to the sponsor, but I would be glad to make the motion that we defer this for a meeting if that's
Could we
appropriate.
have the committee report? Councilmember Page? On the rule change?
Deferred by rule.
Okay, Councilman Garrett.
Move to defer, ma'am.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor of deferral, please say aye. Opposed, no. The motion to defer passes. Councilmember Page, elections and confirmations.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. The committee considered 3 appointments to various boards and commissions. The committee considered the reappointment of Mr. Randy Woodard to the Alarm Board. We recommended approval. 4 in favor, 0 against, and I move approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes.
The committee then considered the reappointment of Ms. Kim Fowler to the Arts Commission and the first-time appointment of Mr. Larry Keaton. We recommend approval. 5 in favor, 0 against, and I move approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. When I call your name, please stand and remain standing. Randy Woodard, Kim Fowler, and Larry Keaton. On behalf of the Metro Council, thank you for your willingness to serve our city. Thank you. We're now at bills on public hearing. The first is BL 2010-674, amends 107.87 acres of the existing Green Hills Urban Design Overlay District to modify variations to the conventional standards of the underlying base zoning located along Hillsborough Pike, Hillsborough Drive, Hillsborough Circle, Hobbs Road, Warfield Drive, Richard Jones Road, Bandywood Drive, and Abbott Martin Road, classified SCR. Councilmember McGuire.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I would defer to the July public hearing, please.
Have a motion for deferral and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. The motion to defer passes. Next is BL 2010-787. Amends the Metro Code relative to non-conforming uses and structures. Councilmember Cole.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. I would move to defer indefinitely with a brief explanation.
Have a motion and a second. Councilman Cole.
Thank you. There have been a number of meetings and discussions around this piece of legislation. I think it's an important topic that we need to get our hands around. A lot of the stakeholders involved are continuing to discuss, and I think will continue to discuss this legislation. I know some bills have been filed on the state level as well regarding this legislation. I'm hopeful that we can all take some time and really approach this from a comprehensive standpoint so that we don't so that we're able to accurately address the non-conforming structure and non-conforming use issue going forward. So with that, I'd move to defer indefinitely. Thank you.
We have a motion and a second for indefinite deferral. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2010-827 amends the Metro Code by deleting the definitions of cash advance, check cashing, pawn shop, and title loan, and deleting such uses from the land use table and the land use development standards. Councilmember Holland.
I apologize, Vice Mayor. Move to open the public hearing.
I'd like to see a show of hands of those in favor. A show of hands of those against. Seeing none on either side, I declare the public hearing closed. Councilmember Holland.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Move approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2011-844 changes .17 acres from RS5 to MUN zoning for properties located at 2733 and 2737 Herman Street. Councilmember Langster.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Move to open the public hearing.
I think first we'll need to see the slides.
Okay.
This is BL 2011-844. This is a request to rezone property located at 2733 and 2737 Herman Street. The property is outlined in red. The original request and the current council bill was to rezone to MUN. The request was amended to rezone from the current RS5 to the SP district, and a substitute bill was prepared. The Planning Commission recommended disapproval of the MUN and approval with conditions of the SP district. The property is currently zoned RS5, which allows single-family on a minimum 5,000 square foot lot. The MUN district allows a mix of uses, and the SP district would allow all the uses of the MUN district, but require that the residential use be the principal use. The policy in this property is T4 Urban Residential Corridor, which is intended for residential uses. There is a special policy in place that allows low-intensity office and retail uses that include residential as the primary use. The SP district is consistent with the policy. The MUN district is not, because it does not require that residential be a part of the development. The plan for this SP includes bulk standards as well as standards for uses, signs, parking, and stormwater. This is a view of the property, and again, the Planning Commission recommended disapproval of the MUN district and approval with conditions of the SP district.
Thank you. Councilmember Langster.
Thank you, Ms. Bernard. Vice Mayor, I now move to open the public hearing, please.
Thank you. Could I see a show of hands of those in favor of 844? Thank you. A show of hands of those against? Seeing no one against, does anyone in favor wish to speak? Seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed. Councilmember Langster.
I would like to move approval of the SP as with a brief explanation to the community.
We have a motion and a second.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. On last Thursday, in all that rain, about 10 people showed up at the Planning Commission, not realizing what this piece of property being rezoned from residential to SP commercial. And after talking with Ms. Renita Anthony, who is requesting the zone change, they want to continue the conversation, and they are in complete agreement. We will have another meeting, conference call, and with that, Vice Mayor, I'd like to move approval.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. Before we move on to the next one, I would just like to recognize two people who are with us tonight, or they were. Councilman Bruce Stanley has a birthday today. And someone who's always with us, Mr. Joey Garrison's birthday is also today, but I think he's left us this time. Next is BL 2010-845, changes 1.43 acres from RS10 to MUN zoning for property located at 3954 Dodson Chapel Road. Councilmember Stanley.
Proceed with public hearing, please.
Please raise your hand if you're in support. Thank you. Please raise your hand if you're in opposition. Seeing no one in opposition, does anyone in support wish to speak? Seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed. Councilmember Stanley.
I would just like to move approval with and defer this after it's approved tonight to the first meeting in April with a couple of brief comments.
We have a motion and a second on the motion to approve and then defer to the
the first meeting in April.
First meeting in April. Councilman.
I was going to let everyone know that this bill has, there have been a number of individuals that live in the subdivision that is directly contiguous with this property. They have contacted me over the last 10 days, and they have informed me that they have some concerns. And I couldn't answer all of the concerns that were raised to my attention, that were brought to my attention, and the developer has been more than willing to work with me and work with the planning department to downzone this to MUN, mixed-use neighborhood, so that it would not have an adverse impact on the existing neighborhood that sits directly contiguous with that. But I was going to let everyone know that I'm going to address the Homeowners Association at its annual meeting in the next couple of weeks, and after that we will have definite answers regarding this. One of the biggest questions is a road easement that exists off Dodson Chapel Road back into through the shopping center area back into a private cemetery that is historical in nature. And a number of those residents have said that they would like to see that easement maintained, if not preserved. And the developer has said he'd be more than willing to work with me to answer any questions and to work with the community to have these questions answered acceptably. So with that, I just move that it be approved tonight and that we defer this until the first meeting in April, after which time we'll move forward. Thank you.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2011-846 changes 1.28 acres from CS to SP zoning for property located at 2724 Elm Hill Pike to permit hotel and restaurant uses. Councilmember Claiborne.
Open the public hearing, please.
Please raise your hand if you're in support. Thank you. Please raise your hand if you're in opposition. Seeing no one in opposition, does anyone in support wish to speak? Seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed. Councilmember Claiborne.
I would move for approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2011-847 changes 0.17 acres from R6 to ON zoning for property located at 1101 38th Avenue North. Councilmember Langster.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Do we need to see the slides?
No,
on
this is
one?
approved.
Okay. Move to open the public hearing, please.
Please raise your hand if you're in support of 847. Please raise your hand if you're in opposition. Seeing no one in opposition, does anyone in support wish to speak? Seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed. Councilmember Langster.
With that, Vice Mayor, I move for approval, please.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2011-848 changes 15.04 acres from CS to SP zoning for property located at 2353 Gallatin Pike to permit an expansion to an existing auto sales facility for auto sales, new and used, auto service, auto repair, car wash, private fuel storage and dispensing, auto parts sale, and auto storage. Councilman Ryman.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Open the public hearing.
Please raise your hand if you're in support. Thank you. Raise your hand if you're in opposition. Seeing no one in opposition, would anyone in support wish to speak? Seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed. Councilmember Ryman.
I move for approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2011-849, changes .28 acres from CL to MUN zoning for property located at 307 Wilburn Street. Councilman Holland.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Move to open the public hearing.
Please raise your hand if you're in support. Thank you. Raise your hand if you're in opposition. Seeing no one in opposition, would anyone in support wish to speak? Seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed. Councilmember Holland.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Move approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2011-850 changes 1.1 acres from IR to MUL zoning for property located at 2300 Charlotte Avenue. Councilmember Langster.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Move to open the public hearing, please.
Please raise your hand if you're in support. Thank you. Raise your hand if you're in opposition. Seeing no one in opposition, do you wish to speak in support? Seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed. Councilmember Langster.
I move for approval, please.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2011-851 changes 5.49 acres from AR2A to RS20 zoning for property located at 5700 Cane Ridge Road. Councilman Coleman.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Neighbors. Please proceed with the public hearing.
Raise your hand if you're in support. Thank you. Please raise your hand if you're in opposition. Seeing no one in opposition, does anyone in support wish to speak? Seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed. Councilmember Coleman.
Move for passage.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2011-852 changes 3.9 acres from CS to MUN zoning for property located at 7000 Harper Road. Councilman Matthews.
Move to open public hearing.
Please raise your hand if you're in support. Thank you. Anyone in opposition, please raise your hand. Seeing no one in opposition, does anyone in support wish to speak? Seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed. Councilmember Matthews.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. I'd like to move approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2011-853 changes .26 acres from R6 to SP zoning for property located at 24 Lincoln Street to permit an existing one-story brick structure to be used as 5 apartment units. Councilmember Moore.
Thank you, Chair. I move to open the public hearing, please.
Please raise your hand if you're in support. Please raise your hand if you're in opposition. Seeing none on either side, I declare the public hearing closed. Councilmember Moore.
I move for approval, please.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2011-854 changes .32 acres within the Greenland Neighborhood Conservation Overlay from RS5 to MUN zoning for property located 731 McPherron Avenue. Councilmember Holland.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Move to open the public hearing.
Please raise your hand if you're in support. Thank you. Raise your hand if you're in opposition. Seeing no one in opposition, does anyone in support wish to speak? Seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed. Councilmember Holland.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Move approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. We're now at items on the consent agenda. Councilmember Page.
Rules and confirmation approved, all 5 in favor, 0 against, except for RS 2011-155 is deferred by rule.
Okay. Councilmember Berry.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I would ask for a suspension of the rules. I apologize for not getting a letter to the Rules and Confirmation Committee in time to get this recognized.
Is there any objection to a suspension of the rules? Seeing none,
Thank you.
Councilmember. I think we have a motion for approval of all of the items on the consent agenda. And second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. We're now at RS 2011-1556, approves the election of notaries public for Davidson County. Councilmember Page.
Rules and confirmation approved, 5 and 4, 0 against.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. Is there a motion for approval of all bills on introduction and first reading? Is there a second? All in favor, please say aye. Wait.
Sorry, Vice Mayor, neighbors. There seem to be some concerns about 864. Could I pull that, please, or withdraw that till we?
By objecting to it, it's automatically rolled to the next meeting, unless she wants to withdraw it. If you want to withdraw it.
Are you making a motion to withdraw?
I'm making a motion to withdraw until we.
We have a motion and a second. An ordinance amending Section 2.78.010 of the Metropolitan Code to modify the provision pertaining to the selection of an operator for the state fair. We have a motion and a second on the withdrawal. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. The motion to withdraw passes. We're now back on the approval of all other bills. On introduction and first reading, we had a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. Is there a motion to adjourn? All in favor? We are adjourned.
I need to call him.